Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so let's start. So we talked about it, right? We'll work on some advanced concepts like deploying to the multiple machines and the different categories. Okay, for that, as I told you, I already created. Let me go to my organization, Hasura 86. I will not come here as of now. Let me go and start my machines. I created one more machine. So right now, yeah. Right now in my QA environment, I have two web servers, and of course, I have three web servers. On one web server, I will be deploying only the API project, I mean APIs. The other two web servers, I am deploying the web front end. Okay, and parallel. So that let me start it, and then we can go and see the configuration. So I have a demo web QA1. I mean, we created last week this one. Let me start it. Okay, let me go home and let me start demo web QA. Start. Then let's go and start demo web QA. So this will cover working with multiple servers in a single release. Okay, let's start it. Then, okay, let it go. It may take a couple of minutes. Now let's go to, let me close this. So we are using .NET DevOps demo, right? Let's go here. So I also created, now we've been seeing deploying the complete solution to the server and deploying different projects to different places. We already seen that configuration. And we also see using two different solutions are the build outputs in our single release. Means for Selenium test case, what we done, we created a separate build pipeline, and we use that build pipeline output artifacts in our release pipeline. Okay. Now for the API project also, what I done, okay, I can keep it as part of our existing solution, or I can keep it separate as well. Let us say your vendor is working on it in his own. Let us say I'm using Azure repos for the development, or if he is using his own Azure repos or his own GitHub, let us say it is a separate entity. For that purpose, what I done, I created another solution, and but I kept it as a another repository in my current DevOps project. So what is my current DevOps project? .NET DevOps demo. Okay, you can see. Okay, and then let's go to the repos. Right now, I have .NET DevOps demo repository, which contains our database project and Selenium test cases project. I also have another repository that is API demo. So I just want to cover multiple repositories in the same DevOps project because that is pretty much possible. I mean, that's a typical scenario. So now I have two repositories. For this repository, I mean API demo, I also created a build pipeline because this is a straightforward. I just don't want to waste the time here. So I created a pipeline here. Let's go to the builds. So .NET DevOps demo API demo is my API project. I mean, this is a very simple project, again, sample project. And .NET DevOps 8 AMCA, it's our regular. We've been using this, which contains your Selenium and other stuff. Not the Selenium, only your front end stuff. Okay. Now let's go to our releases. So in the releases, what I done, let's go to our, let's edit it. Or first go to deployment groups. Okay. So our deployment group is demo deployment QA. Okay, right now everything is offline because it is starting. Okay, so you see the tags here, demo web QA1 is a API. Last week we added this one, and then web QA2 and web QA is of web servers, where I want to deploy only my front end. Okay, and the API, I deploy my API code, which is an another repository, and you can keep it anywhere. Okay, so right now these are offline. Let me go and log in first. I think it succeeded. So it has come online. Now let's go to details. You can see. So all my three servers are now online. Let me go and log in to all the three servers, because I have covered a couple of other scenarios as well. Let me talk about what the scenarios. So far, when we created a IAS, so we created a release pipeline. We added a IAS task, right? And it contains IAS web app manage and then deploy. Web app manage, you are dealing with the website. So far, we are using the default website. We haven't created the new one. What I told you, because that task contains create or update. If the website doesn't exist, it will create. If it exists, it will just update. That's what I said. Okay. So I'm covering that scenario as well, because I'm having the new web server created, right? That is empty. So for that server, what I do, I create a website and then deploy it as part of our pipeline. I'm not going to make any change to our release pipeline. The pipeline is as is. I'm only just going to show you the additional server that is part of your deployment. Okay. Let me go and log into the servers first. So demo web QA2, let me take the IP address.
Purna, can you repeat the scenario once?
So, so couple of scenarios I'm covering. The first scenario is I have two web servers, which is part of totally I have three servers. Okay, two servers is for the web application deployment. Another server is for the API deployment, APIs. Okay, that I am showing it using a deployment.
Then how
Okay.
did you create this API server project?
Just the same. You go to the Visual Studio and then create a new project. So earlier we were using what do you say MVC project, right? So you go to create a new project, and then again you select the same ASP.NET web application. Say next. Say create. Then it will give you the list of options. Here you will have the MVC. Earlier we selected MVC. Now for APIs we use a web API. That's the latest standard. Okay. So that's it. You can go and click on create. That's it. It will create, and then I pushed it to the repository. Okay. This is another template here in our Visual Studio.
What it contains actually? Web API?
It's only API. It doesn't contain. It's not for the web application. You will not create any UI. Okay. It simply go and search, connect to any other systems for the payments. It's just a API. It's a web service.
Okay.
Okay. So let me go and take my IP address. Let me log in. Go to remote desktop MSTSC. This is web QA2, right? So let me minimize it. Let me log into our web QA as well. Remote desktop. And then the last server is web QA1. The IP address to our remote desktop. This IP address is being changed because I didn't preserve it. So let me log in again. Give the credentials. So the new server, right? I made it part of my deployment group before I come here because again it takes another 10 minutes. You already seen that. A QA group. So we have one is for dev group, another for the QA group. So I just added all these three servers to the QA group. So let me now keep the parallel things. Let me, this is our, let's go to inet manager. So this is my QA1 server. You can see directly here. And this contains the default website. Okay. Let me delete this here. Or you can, this is under C:\inet. Let's explore it. That is just a folder you can remove. Okay. So right now the QA1 is empty. There is nothing. Refresh. That's it. There is nothing on the default website. Let's minimize this. And then this is which server? inet mgr. Go to run and then inet mgr. This is our demo web QA. We already deployed our application here, right? That is under .NET DevOps demo. Okay. Let me what I do. We'll just keep like this. The last one is let's go to inet mgr again here also. This is the latest server that I created. This also doesn't contain anything. Okay. Now let's do this one. So while I am deploying, I'll keep it all side by side like this, so that we can easily see what's happening. Okay. Now let's minimize everything. So all my servers are available. So demo web QA, demo deployment QA uh, is my deployment group for QA. All the servers that are part of QA environment will be under this deployment group. So now what I'm saying, two of my servers are for the web and one server is for API. That's what I tagged it. Okay. As per the tags, my deployment should have. Okay. Now let's go to our, now I don't need to be here. Let's make it as a dev.azure.com. Go to releases. Build I already created. So we already having this existing release, right? Let's open this existing release. So release pipeline, I would say. So I added another artifact here, API demo. How we do? I mean, you go to the add artifact, and then I'm in the same project, and so I have two pipelines, right? One is API demo, another one is ATI. I need the API demo. That's how I added another artifact here. Okay. Now I'm not making any changes to the dev. I am just want to demonstrate is using PS so that then I can quickly close it. I also what I done, I disable this pre-deployment approvals. Okay, because otherwise I have to wait for this dev to complete and then approve it so that it will go to the QA. I just want to demonstrate this one. Okay. Now let's open the QA environment. Okay. So as I told you, so we are having the QA environment. The first is a IAS deployment group, which contains demo deployment QA. I mentioned demo deployment QA as a deployment group, and in the tags, what I mentioned, web. Okay, that means when this job executes, it will go and deploy your website into the two servers under web category. And you can see here as well, two matching targets in your demo deployment QA. It is clearly saying, and I have not made any changes. Yeah, this is as it is. All I done is adding a tab here, and I disable this deployment. I mean database long time back, and I have another project, right? API project. I want to deploy that to API server. What I did for that, what I have to do? Again, I have to take a IAS deployment task one. I mean agent. How you can do? You can go to the top level, which is a QA deployment process. I named it as a QA. Let's go and select add a deployment group job. So you have an agent job, you have a deployment agent job. For Selenium test cases we added. Okay, and for this one you have to use add a deployment group job. That's it. After that it will contain empty, because I have not used any template here. End of the day, what I have to do, I have to add these IAS web app manage and a web app deploy. Okay. So you have to go and add those tasks by searching for them. So web app manage and web app deploy, you have to add it. I already added here. Okay. Let me remove this. Now, so the easiest way for you to understand, right? What are all the properties that you need to set here? You just go to our existing deployment group where we done the configuration, and you replicate them here as well, because the properties are same wherever you are using the task. So in my deployment group job, what I'm using the same demo deployment QA. This is the deployment group for our QA environment. But here my tag is API. That means when this job executes, it will go and deploy my API code into the server, which is mentioned for the API. Though this deployment group is having 3 servers. Okay. Here also you can see one matching targets. So it is very clear here. Now I added this IAS web app manager, right? The same one. Okay. This I'm not making any changes. Whatever you are having here on the top is the same. The only thing what I made here is I given a website name as a Purna demo. Okay, if you go here, this is a default website. Right now, if I come to my new deployment group, what I done, I given a Purna demo, and I did not make any change here because I want to keep my code in the same folder, and I did not make any change here. And binding also, you can. So in the binding, you already having the default website, right? In your server. When you install your website, you already having a default website. So not because this is already deployed, you can see here. Let me go back to another server. This is a 236, right? Okay, this one. You see, there is already a default website. Once I run my release pipeline, right? It will go and create another website called Purna demo, and it will create a application name. I mean, your .NET DevOps demo, right? It will create under that one. So you need to give an attention right now. This website, right? Default website. By default, it works on the port 80. Now I'm going to create another website. If I use 80 HTTP, I mean port 80, it will not work. It will say the port 80 is already in use. So I have to use another port. Basically, this is done by your network administrators, but you are doing it from the release pipeline. You can ask them which port I can use. That port can be mentioned in your release pipeline. Now, if I go to the release pipeline, okay, in my deployment group, I added a binding here. So when you click on add binding, right, it will give me this add bindings option. Okay, you have to click on this more button, edit add bindings. All you need to do is click on the add binding and you will get these options, whether it's a HTTP or something, IP addresses. All your network administrator will tell you these things. So what port you need to use? I know that 8080 is not used in my system because this is a new system. I used 8080. Okay, that's all you need to do. So that's all I done in my IAS website. Now, what configuration for the website name? I given my website name. It will go and create, and the binding I given 88. That's it. Now the next step is you need to deploy your. Now website is available or updated. Now you are going to deploy your code to the application under that website. So here what I done again, your website name is Purna demo. I given the same thing. Earlier you see the virtual application. I used to create from the IAS and then I was using that name in my configuration task here. But right now I did not create even API demo application in my website. Right now everything is new. Purna demo is getting newly created and under that API demo application is getting created. But other than that, I am not making any changes. Okay. The reason the task what we selected is having action, create or update. Okay. That's it. Now here, right? Now package or folder, we have to select because I'm having multiple artifacts, right? In my pipeline, if I come here, I have multiple artifacts. Okay, but I want to select only the artifacts that are required for the API dev. So how you do? You can go to your package folder and then click on this, and you will get all these artifacts here. These are the link. These are the things that will link to your pipeline. Now I will go and select API demo zip. That's what I done. Okay. Yeah. That's all I have to do from here. So it's very simple. Go and create another deployment group, and you want to deploy your API. Just give the name as a tag as a API here. That's all I done. Now I did not make any change, right? So just save it. Now when I deploy this group, what happens? The first one is for this web deployment. This code will be deployed to the two servers. Because in the deployment group for the under web category, I have two servers. And when this job runs, it will go and deploy only the API project to the API server. We will see that. And for that, let's go and create some small change to our UI so that you will understand that. Because for existing, you need to see some difference. For new thing, anyways, API demo it is an empty server. You can see all the things available. This is just a name. This is a display name. Okay, you can change it to, let us say, IAS manage or what is that? IAS web app manage. That's it. Or else you can say API. This is to identify. That's it. Nothing other than that. Let's save it. So all you need to look at this one, the bottom right, the small letters, that is actually the name of your task. Okay, the top one is the name that you are giving display name. Okay, that's it. Now let's go to our repos. Let me make some small change for in the UI so that we will understand. So let's go to our .NET DevOps demo. So under .NET DevOps demo, so we can make UI changes under views. Okay. Let me go to the about.cs HTML. So probably I'll make anywhere here. I need to go and edit. Say edit. I'm saying deployment group demo. That's it. Okay. Let's commit. I just made some change for the identification. Let me go and build it. Otherwise, these changes will not come. Builds. So this one I want to queue this. So we are covering number of scenarios, creating the new websites, and then deploying to different categories of the web servers in the same deployment group, and also a different solution to different servers. So this one will cover your real-time stuff. This is what you do in your regular development activities as well. So this is easier here. But if it is a Jenkins or something, this is a little tough. 1 second, please. Hello. నేను ఒక మీటింగ్ లోనే So if it is a Jenkins, it works like this, right? You have to manage. First, you have to establish communication between your Jenkins server and your web server. Okay. For that, you need to work with multiple people, your network administrator, your server administrator, because these guys have to make many changes for the communication to happen. And on top of that, the categorization is not like this. It's not by tags. You have to go and explicitly give your IP addresses or server names. So you need to manage it manually, the way you are managing in your Excel sheets. Right now, I am not managing from any other source. Everything is from the deployment group, and this is pretty much visualization, right? From here, I can clearly know, okay, even for the network admin or server admin, it is easy. You can come and see, okay, these are all the servers for the QA environment. So it is that easy. Under that QA environment, again, I am having 2 web servers for the front end and another web server for the API. So it is easy to categorize. Now, okay, now let's go to the releases. And let's QA release. I'm not making any change now. I'll select QA. But before that, let's open all these servers. This is a QA2, right? QA2, I mentioned it as a web server 2. Okay. And the web server 2, I don't have anything. So it will be going to create a Purna demo website. And then other server is QA. Let me keep it here side by side. And the QA we've been using, right? That's why it will just go and update the code. Okay. And the other one is the API one. Demo web. The QA2 today I created, right? Yeah. So the QA2 will contain, let me drag it properly. Okay. The QA2 will be for the web server 2, and the QA1 will be for your API. Okay. And QA is our existing server. That's it. Let me go ahead and trigger that build. Go to our website. I already clicked on it, right? No. So okay, create release and then QA. Let's go and create. That's it. Let's go to the release. And I will start it immediately. I don't need to wait for that. Okay. Go and deploy the QA. Now let me see the logs. Go to logs. It will take a waiting in the deployment queue because we are using the free one. It basically Devi started, right? It has to create the virtual machine internally. Let me refresh. It's been started. Yeah, it's been started. Now you see the first IAS deployment is started, and the tag that we use is web. 2 in progress. See, it is happening parallelly. It is deploying to the 2 servers, QA and QA. So this is a parallelism basically when you are using the deployment tool. General, what happens if you are using 2 different jobs, they go in sequence. Now we are having multiple jobs, but in the same job I am having multiple servers, but those multiple servers deployment is happening parallelly. Here also you see demo web qa2 and then demo web qa, both are going parallel. Once this job is done, then it will go to the other job, because the jobs are sequence, the activities within the job are parallel. These are my things. Both are at the same level. Let it take actually we should have removed this 8 a.m. DevOps demo. This is for the Selenium test case. We forgot to uncheck that one. That's why it is there. That's all. And refresh it. Sometimes it won't. They given options to explore everywhere. They given the identification here as well. Web QA, web QA, two servers. And it is still downloading. Shall I cancel and remove this one so that it will quickly happen? Okay, I'll cancel this. Should I give 1 more minute? It is taking too much time. Let me cancel this job. Cancel is not allowed. I succeeded. Huh? Saying succeeded. Be able to cancel it. No, it should not take this much time. Even for the David is taking time. 5 minutes. Cancel it. It is saying rejected. It's not changing here. That's what I understand. It's showing still in progress, right? Here it is saying in progress. Here it is saying rejected. I think there is some issue with the this one. Not our, it is saying transitioning of stage from state rejected to state cancel is not allowed. But I don't see the rejection here. So if I go, let me see the status of my jobs, my targets. Everything is online. See, all three servers are online. There is no issue. Okay. Okay, go here, but it is taking too much time. Just want to cancel it, but again I can trigger it. Oh, it is saying succeeded. Let me see. Let me go and refresh this. With demo web QA and QA2, right? QA1. Demo web QA. First, let me minimize this. I can see everything. First, let's go to the your server. Okay, demo web QA. This is our old website, right? Old server. Let me refresh if my code is being deployed or not, because it is saying succeeded. So let's go and browse it. We made change in the contact, right? Oh, it's been deployed, but the status on the website, right, is not changing. It is saying succeeded. So I can see actually deployment demo deployment group demo is the text that I added to the latest release. So on the web QA, it's been updated, which is our old server. Okay, let's go back and let's go back to our physical folder, C drive, network 310, Feb 3rd. Yeah. So it is updated. I guess it is updated 5 minutes ago itself, but our website is not updating the status. Okay. Now the other web server is QA2, the latest web server. Let's expand this and let me refresh this. Browse it. This is the latest website, I mean, latest server that I created. It's been deployed here as well. That's why I'm not able to, but somehow I don't know why it is not. So I have the latest code here. So using the deployment group, I am able to deploy to two web servers parallelly, and by using the option tabs. Okay. So this is also done. Now let's go to our QA1, which is our API server. Okay. Let's go and refresh. Okay, this is also done. So I created a website called Purna Demo, right? In the new IAS web deployment group. Under Purna Demo website, what I created, API demo virtual application, which is nothing but application. Now let's go and browse it. This is not the web application. This is the API, just API. I think there is some issue with the portal. It is not refreshing the UI. So that's not our problem. That's okay. It is deployed. That's what. So this is how you deploy uh, a different application to the different set of servers under the same deployment flow. Okay, using tags. So tags. So here tags is having a lot importance. Generally, tags is only for the searching, right? But here taxis is having a utmost impact. It is still showing okay. Now I think it took a lot time to update. Okay. Yeah. So this is API group, and the first one is web, and we deploy parallel. Yes, that's how you can make use of deployment group for your real-time deployments. So you have the clear-cut categorization. Okay, my QA environment is having 5 servers. Under that 5 servers, 2 servers are for the web application deployment, 2 servers for the API deployment, and probably another 1 server for some other purpose. And you can clearly categorize them. So I go to the deployment group. I can see the deployment group, demo deployment group. I have all these different servers, and I can categorize like this using tags. And I utilize the same tags in my release pipeline without making any change to the existing configuration. Tomorrow, if I have another web server added, all I do is I go and deploy my deployment group agent onto the server. That's it. And I apply the tag web. I don't even need to make any change to my release configuration because I already using web tag in my release definition. So let's go to edit release pipeline. That's it. You go and add any number of servers in future. You should not touch this configuration. So this is the scaling as well. Scaling your deployments without making any changes. Okay. Any doubts in this? So as I told you,
Purna,
yeah.
I have one question.
One
Like,
second,
see,
one
yeah,
second.
now you have shown us one scenario, like how to deploy in the web server into the web server and as well as API, right? So
Correct.
and once the environment is set up and all these deployments are happening, I mean, since it was done manually, so going forward, if a developer does any changes in the web API and he want to deploy that one, so this entire process he need to repeat it, or this can be done as an automated process?
No. So what right now what we done? We disabled all the triggers, right? Let us say you go to the build pipeline.
Yeah.
Okay. You go to the build pipeline. Basically, you need to enable the continuous integration. Okay. Edit. And then go to the triggers. So you enable continuous integration here. Okay.
Okay.
That means the moment your developer check-in some code or your pull request is approved, this build will be triggered. Okay.
Okay.
Now the build is automated. Your release also should be automated, right? Accordingly. Now go to the releases. Edit the definition. So here you have the what do you say? Continuous deployment request. Okay, you can see here in the artifact section. Okay, let's open. Right now I disabled it. You enable this one. Okay.
Okay.
Now the moment somebody make change to the code and they push their code successfully to the branch, of course you will have a pull request because I am directly doing it. You will configure the pull request, right? You will ensure that pull request is mandated. Now the pull request is completed. What happens? Your build will be starting. Once your build is run, your as soon as the build output is released, available, since you configured your continuous deployment here by enabling it, your deployment will also be successful. And since you don't want these deployments to be continuous to all the environments, what you do, you will go and configure the pre-deployment approvals. So this is the process. Because our demonstration purpose, it will take time. I disable all these things.
Yeah, I have one scenario like see, the back end is on Windows and the front is in front. I mean, sorry, the front end is on the Windows server and the back end is on the other platform, other
Linux, some Linux.
Linux platform. So in
Right.
that case, we need to bring that scenario also in these artifacts and say show that. I mean,
No,
we can
okay.
monitor from here only.
It's very simple. Okay, your artifacts still be in your Azure pipelines. What will
Okay.
change? Your target server will change, right?
Yeah.
Because you are deploying to, let us say you have your some .NET Core application, can be deployed both on Windows and Linux as well. So what I do, first you need to have the server. What somebody will create a virtual machine and they will give it to you, your Linux server. Okay, and what you do after that, you will go and install your deployment group agent onto the Linux server. So you already seen it, right? Let's go to how you create. Let's go to the deployment group. Let's leave it. I'm not saving the continuous integration. You go to your demo deployment QA. Right now, I only have the Windows servers as part of my deployment group. Now, let us say you want to have the Linux server. You go and click on the register. So far, I'm taking only Windows. You go and take Linux and take the script and follow the same process what we done for the Windows servers. Then your Linux server now is part of your deployment group. Okay, that is the step one. Now the step two, you already given the tags as well. Okay, when you are having the different configuration stuff, right? It works differently because your IIS, let us say you are deploying .NET Core to Windows, you are deploying to the IIS. You are deploying .NET Core to Linux, it will be a different way. Of course, your developers will give the steps how to deploy that one. In that cases, what I suggest is instead of putting your Linux servers also part of web group, I would suggest you, if you are having different operating systems, web let us see, you can name like this, Windows web or Linux web. Okay, so that's the best practice. Otherwise, your configurations will be mix and match. You should not do anytime because the features that are available in Linux are different. The features that are available in your Windows are different. So for that, in that case, what I do, I'll go and edit my definition. The first thing what I do is I'll go to my deployment group. Instead of web, I will say Windows web and Linux web. It's just a name, just for categorization. Now I will go to my jobs. Instead of I will go ahead create one more deployment group. Probably this is not a IAS deployment because on Linux it may not be IAS. It will be a different. So instead of creating a IAS deployment group, either you can go ahead and use create a deployment group because we are using deployment group, but go ahead and use some other way. So you can use a PowerShell, you can use a Bash, you see, run a Bash script. Okay, there are a number of ways to deploy. It's not straightforward what you do on the web meshes, but this is how you will follow. You create another deployment group and add the way you want to deploy your code to your scripts. Because I'm not a Linux guy, so but this is how it works.
Yeah, thanks, Purna. I have last question, like how you will make sure we are deploying it on the IaaS services or SaaS services? I mean, how you will make sure that because when we are doing a deployment, these requirements will be given by the architect or not?
Yes, this is a combined effort from your architect and if it is a huge development, right? Then there will be a infra architect as well.
Okay.
Okay, so they together take a decision which servers to be used for which type of applications they will make it. How you decide? I mean, how you identify? We are having the tags here, right? That's what I'm saying. When I go and add another Linux server or another 2 Linux servers, what I do? Yeah, I will give another tag, web Linux. So that's how you will identify. As soon as I have a tag available, what I do simply, I'll come to my deployment group job. Let us, I'll make it as a for identification Linux. Okay, and I'll come here. I select my deployment group, and then I'll give the tag as Linux web. That's it. Now, of course, it is saying no matching targets. Okay, because I don't have anything. So this is how you will instruct your job to deploy to a set of servers. Under that, this is all about the steps that your development team gives you. You have to follow the steps what they give you, and you just need to configure the task. Let us say they say that okay, I need to keep this your code in my usr bin folder. Then what you do, you use a copy command. So how you can do, you can go and publish. So you have a copy and everything. There are copy as well. Copy files over SSH, because mostly if you are using Linux, right, use SSH. If it is Windows, it is only copy files because it works seamlessly. So first you will copy your files using SSH connection, and then the files will be copied. And if they ask you to do some any setting changes, you will add the task accordingly. So you just need to come and search for those tasks. Mostly it will be bash scripts. I am sure if people are using Linux, it will be bash scripts. If people are using the latest version of Windows and they prefer the PowerShell, they can still go ahead and use PowerShell. Of course, PowerShell supports it, but it takes another 1 or 2 years for the people to get used to that. I mean, it doesn't. It's not like this, right? They release it, you use it. It cannot be like that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Purna. Thank you.
Good folder we have C colon.
That will also be changed. It will be mostly, if it is on the Linux, it will be /usr and then /bin, and you will create your own folders. I understand that one. Okay. So, I mean, even working with Linux is also very easy here, because you see everything is you just create SSH and it is telling you the folders, because you cannot do mistakes here. Because even if you don't do anything, it will give you, it is giving you that there is something is pending, etc. And the good thing is you don't need to think about the sequence. As soon as you add a task, the sequence is already available in terms of the steps here. All you need is just go and read the documentation, and even that is also made easier, right? You have the tooltip test here itself. So you just open it. Initially you will not understand all these things, but once you do 1 or 2 deployments, you will come to know how to use these features to make your productivity. See, when I click on target folder, I just been talking about usr bin, right? What it is saying, the target folder and the remote machine to where the files will be covered. It is saying home, user, and my site. So we will go and create our website. I mean, it is giving you the suggestions as well, and these are real-time suggestions. These are not just like samples.
Purna, we have any third-party tools to monitor all this health status of these deployments, the current status of the builds?
So as far as this Azure DevOps is mentioned, to monitor your release and deployments, you don't need any tool, because everything is available here itself. Let us say you go to your pipelines, right? Let us say builds. You are already having analytics here. The reports are here already. The pass percentage and everything, pipeline duration and everything. In the same way, you are having analytics for your releases as well. Okay. And in the same way, if your if your target servers are healthy or not. Your deployment group is already showing whether they are healthy or not. You see, 3 online. If something goes wrong, it will show offline. If some error comes, it will show. It is, you see here, it's failing. So for monitoring your Azure DevOps resources, you don't need anything. This is built in. I mean, full-fledged.
But
And for
since we have
monitoring your servers,
other platform applications also, right? I mean, sorry, other platforms also, right? In that case, yeah,
what is that other platform?
because in case we have a Linux server here in this
Yes.
deployment group, so
Right.
it somewhere it went wrong, so it will give the status here only, right?
Yes, yes, everything is here. As long as your server is part of this deployment group, it will show the status here. There is no doubt.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether it is on the AWS or Azure or in your on-premise, because you already installed agent on your server. That's why it is a part of your deployment group. So that agent knows all these statistics. And when it is coming to the monitoring of your servers, and I mean, it depends on the organization. So they might have a SolarWinds, Nagios, or if it is Azure, they use Azure Health Monitoring and log analytics. Okay, and even for some Azure virtual machines, also some companies use Nagios, etc., because they are already using Nagios in their enterprise. So there is no restriction. It's all about the architect's comfort and the organization's comfort, and aligning to the company visions. So for us, whatever we needed is available.
Thanks, Purna.
Yeah, I wanted to cover PowerShell as well, but it took a lot of time. But okay, I mean, it gives you a lot of information. Okay. Okay, guys. So one final thing, right? The last one. So far, we've been working on the .NET DevOps demo project. Okay, there might be other projects as well, right? There might be other projects as well. When you go and create a release pipeline for that project, this group will not be available. Let us say, so I go to my 8 a.m. DevOps demo. I haven't have my anything here. So you go to your release pipeline. You will go and let's go and create a pipeline quickly. Okay. I don't have anything here, just IAS. Right. You go here. Now let's go and search for your deployment group. It doesn't come because I created the deployment group for my other project. Okay, because it's very much possible, right? You are in an organization, you are working for one portfolio. Every portfolio is having the QA environment, right? So you may share the servers, you may not share the servers. That's the reason this is also categorized like this. If you want to share your deployment group with some other project, so you need to share it. Otherwise, you cannot see that option here. You see, it's not available. I'm trying to open it. Now, how you do? You go to the deployment group. Okay. You have this share option. Click on the share. Right now, I have only another project, 8 a.m. DevOps demo. Current project is .NET DevOps demo. If I share it, you can share it with a number of projects. That's it. Now you see the shared option. It's been shared with some other project as well. Now go to your pipelines. Let's refresh. We have this. So that is. I mean, this is for the governance purpose. You cannot simply share your QA environment with some other project, right? That's the reason. Okay, guys, that's it from me today. So we covered all of the aspects of your deployment group, and you will be able to use these features for your production deployments without any doubt.
Here, why did we keep this web API in a separate repository?
Just a scenario. I just want to show you another scenario, nothing other than that. Because you can keep the projects under the same solution, you can keep the project under different solutions, or you can use a different repositories for the same project. I just want to cover all these scenarios. That's the reason I use it. There is nothing other than that. Okay, guys, we'll start tomorrow the PowerShell stuff. Have a good day. Talk to you tomorrow.